awesome. Thank you very much. I love you. Thank you. Timer? Do you have a timer?
No, I don't have a timer.
Okay, I'll give you one here.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Nancy, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Nancy.
A grateful alcoholic. I've told my story twice. Once when I was 6 months sober in a treatment center, and I was terrified. And tonight, and I'm terrified. I majored in, my undergrad was in speech communications, and I manipulated my program so I never made a formal speech through the entire undergrad. So, and I have been dodging Lara for, will you speak at that? No. Will you speak? I'm sorry, I'm so busy. Will you speak? And I finally went, oh man, she is not going to give up. And so I said yes. And so I'm going to tell my story. It is of how it was, what happened, and what it's like now. It's in parts. The first part of my journey is living in an alcoholic home, an alcoholic dad and a co-alcoholic mom. It was a crazy family. It was rough. And then I found, I was drinking. When I turned 16, I started drinking, and it was lovely. And I became very sexy and very desirable and funny. And it was, I enjoyed it. I got in a lot of trouble. I did a lot of stupid things. I tempted fate many times, one time in Mexico on a ledge, thinking I was a ballerina. I don't know how I did not fall over the edge, but our guardian angel, I was lucky. I made a geographical move to Kansas City from Long Beach, California. And there I found adult children of alcoholics. I couldn't believe it. It was me. And so I started going to ACOA meetings. And it really helped. It helped me a lot. But I was going pretty drunk. And one day, this kind lady said, honey, I think you need to be down at the end of the hall. I was like, that's the alcoholic now. No way, I'm not going there. Things devolved quickly within that month. I did a lot of things that brought me to my knees. One was I was literally on my knees at a Catholic church, a Saturday night mass. I came in late, and I proceeded to tell the whole congregation and the priest that was trying to minister that this was all a bunch of F. And I said it really loud, and you're all asshole. I was cussing. It was a packed house. And then I got up and I slammed the door because I was right. About a week later, I woke up with the busboy, and I didn't know his name. And I'm like, what the actual hell is happening to me? I go, who are you? He goes, I'm the busboy. I'm the new busboy. I'm like, oh my God, I have a degree. This isn't cool. So I made a call to my dad. And I called him that morning, and I said, how did you know that you were an alcoholic? And he's the chronic relapser. He was in and out and in and out of AA and detox and treatment centers. And he happened to be sober then. And so he told me his story. I just thought and I know you've heard this in meetings. I really thought it was just a bunch of men with scruffy beards and watery eyes. I really had that vision in my mind. And he told me his story. And I thought, okay, I'm going to call the National Council of Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, NCADD, in Kansas City. And B answered. And she said, well, you just get on right down here right now. And so I sat in the waiting area, and I did that little test. And, you know, you might have taken that test too. And I passed with flying colors. I love getting A's. And she sat me down, and she's like, she heard my story. And she said, you need to go on inpatient. And well, I couldn't afford inpatient. There was no way. Well, you need outpatient. I couldn't afford outpatient. She goes, well, then you need to go to AA. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I went to a church that Wednesday night, and I sat down, and they asked, is there any newcomers? And I sheepishly, you know, like, I'm a newcomer. And by the way, everyone was very well dressed. Everyone was there was young people, old people, women. It was like, I was just shocked when I walked in. I thought I would really stick out because, you know, I kind of like being the star, but I didn't. And when I raised my hand, everybody clapped, and I was hooked. I was hooked bad. I love applause. I mean, and so, you know, at the end of the meeting, people came up and, you know, do you have a sponsor? Blah, blah, blah. You know, they all came at me, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what you say. No, I didn't do anything. I went home, and I go, okay, that was good. I think I got it. And a week later, I was out because I didn't drink. I was out of my mind. I was so angry and irritated and just rageful. And so I went back to that meeting, and that time I just said, wow, if this is my choice, is to be drinking for the rest of my life, or I'm going to be crawling out of my skin. And then the third option is in the middle. And I listen to these people who are very happy. I'm going to take that. Now, I never thought that I was going to stay sober. I just thought that I was going to get it together. I never went into AA, never thought that this was forever. But then they introduced those chips. I was like, oh, you get a prize. Nice. So I'm like, okay, 30 days. Yeah, I can do that. And I did it. And I know some people don't believe that the chips are a really big deal, but for me, they were a huge deal. And other things that were a big deal. I got a sponsor. She told me that in the morning, you get on your knees and you say, please. That's all you have to say. Just say, please. And then you go about your day, read some literature. She liked me journaling, which I like too. And then go to a meeting, 90 and 90. At the end of the day, get on your knees and say thank you. I did not like getting on my knees, but it was really, really, really powerful. It was the whole combination of everything that they told me to do, and I followed it to the letter. All of a sudden, it was 90 days, and I got another chip. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go for that 6-month chip. And then the 9-month chip. And then I got a year, and that was it. I thought, I think this is it. Because I was happy, I was healthy. And I remember I was a waitress at the time, and this one manager that I just did not like at all, he came up to me, I'd like to see you in the back. So I go back. He goes, I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up. You're a different person. I go, I'm an AA. He goes, oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think he really wanted to know, but I was like so shocked because I couldn't see the change. My nemesis saw my change and said something. That I got sober January 27th, 1987. I was very, very fortunate to be with a group of people that took me under their wings. And they happened to be a lot of old timers. And I was at the like an inner group in Kansas City. and they gave me a job. I had to empty the ashtrays, and then I made the coffee, and then I sat with them afterwards, and I went out to coffee. I did things I did not want to do, but every time I did something that I didn't want to do, it was like another brick on my new foundation. So I had a lovely, lovely ride in Kansas City. I had great meetings that I went to. And then I decided to move to Seattle. And I moved to Kirkland. And I found a couple home groups. And I don't know, I think I got a little, I think I thought I had it again. Mm-hmm. And so I was, although I was very depressed at the time, and I was taking medication, and I was in a meeting, and I said that. And then this guy cross-talked, and he shamed me in the meeting. And he said, what you need to be doing is you need to be reading more of the big book, and you need to be more service. And I was just like stunned. I've never been in a meeting where that ever happened. I mean, you know, bless his heart, he was newly recovering, and he was very excited about his sobriety, and he had all the answers. I get that. I was there too. But it devastated me. And I was already on the tipping point. And I used that as my excuse to say, I'm breaking up with you, AA. And I did. I left AA after 14 years of being in AA. I said, I got this. So I started doing Buddhism, and that actually was really wonderful. I was doing really great. But then I got into workaholism and other isms. And I got more miserable and more miserable. I never drank. I never picked up a drop. I never really wanted to drink. It was never even part of my vocabulary or thought process. What I thought was, I wish I wasn't an alcoholic so I could drink, which is a slippery slope. So I just got more miserable, and I went through the hardest times of my life sober without any support. I lost my father, who was my best friend. I lost my mother, who was another best friend. I lost a lot of animals because I rescued old animals. I lost jobs, I lost relationships, and I just like knuckled through it. I met a guy, and he, when I first met him, I said, well, tell me about your childhood. And he was like, it was great. I had a great childhood. Everything was great. I'm like, there's no way I can pick somebody healthy. There's no way. No, it soon found out that, you know, being in a relationship is a dance, and you learn and you go deeper within yourself. So that made me miserable, and it got worse and worse and worse. And then I turned 30 years sober, and I wanted my 30-year chip. Damn right. I wanted that chip. Even though I didn't go to AA, by golly, I was sober. So we went to a meeting in Burien. It was a crazy meeting. It was crazy. But you know what? I walked into that meeting and I went, and I recognized that. I saw that he did that with my body. Wow. So we sat down. It was a birthday meeting, and they were handing out chips, and I was all proud of myself, you know, miserable, out of my mind, crazy, angry, rageful, bitter. And then I walked out of that meeting, and I'm like, oh my God, you don't have to drink again to go back to AA. I don't know what made me think that was something that I had. It just never occurred to me that I could just walk back into these rooms. So the next morning I went to a meeting in Madison Park, and then I started going to my Monday night meeting with the women that I go to now. And I am telling you, I cried for a solid year at every meeting. Couldn't even tell you why. Soul sick. Yeah, I can tell you why. I'm soul sick. And I stopped growing. You know, in AA, you have all these tools. I had all these tools that were teaching me how to be a grown-up, how to be a person that can live with other people, how to have a successful job. I had all these tools that taught me how to be a kinder person, a more reflective person, a person that takes accountability. I took it all back, and I became God. I became God, and I was soul sick. So it took me a good, long time to stop crying. And I started working my ego though. I started working the steps with my sponsor, and I go, I've already done this. I'm sober. I just kept getting my ego in the way. It still gets in the way, but where I am today is peaceful. I have boundaries. I stick up for myself. I'm kinder. I'm compassionate. I'm healthier. I take better care of my body. I'm a better friend. I'm a better relative to people. I show up, even though I was going to have COVID tonight. I'm becoming a better human, and I stopped growing when I stopped going, and when I stopped having something in my life that was helping me grow. I mean, I could have done something else. I could have followed the Buddhist path or something like that. Of course, people do all sorts of things and remain sober and healthy. But for me, it happens to be AA. And I'm grateful to all those old men. They're probably my age right now. Those men in those rooms in Kansas City that really gave me such a solid foundation. I'm grateful to all the mistakes that I've made. I'm grateful to all the women that I've met. I'm grateful to my husband that helps me walk through this journey. I'm still uncovering all the layers. Right now, what I'm dealing with is my version of God. It used to be very clear, because I was raised Catholic, I know exactly who God is. But as AA has progressed, or I have progressed, as I have progressed in AA, it's changed. And now it's at a place that I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm really kind of struggling with that and trying to put away ideas of what it should be and open my heart to what it could be. I'm very grateful. Like Karen said, I'm very, very grateful, and I have a gratitude list every day that I share with other people. I try really, really hard to be accountable. And I think that's it. I'm sorry, there's 11 minutes left, but I think that is my story. And thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being here for other people, and thank you, AA.
Thank you.